it's Michelle with Pink and Maine. Thanks so much for joining me today. We're going to be making some cute cards with our Choose You stamps, dies, and more. Let's get started and let's get creative. Our Choose You stamps and dies were created as part of our scratch off series. We have some scratch off stickers and scratch off sticker sheets that you can die cut. So they have a place like the little girl here blowing the bubble. Isn't she the cutest? Look at that. Look at that effort going into that bubble. Her facial expression, so cute. But in this bubble, you could stamp the sentiment from the stamp set. They fit into the bubbles. And then you could put a scratch off sticker over it. We're not going to do that with this card yet, but that's just like an idea with the scratch off series, kind of how it works. I've got a card base, all this beautiful buttery yellow cardstock, and I've cut a panel to go on top out of our Salon Pink cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. My next panel is one of our foilables. It's a small polka dots. And I'm just going to dust it off with our foil dusting brush. Make sure there's no dust or debris or pet hair on there, anything that can interfere with the foil adhering to the foilable. And I'm going to be using our Fairy Wings Gold. It's this beautiful holographic gold foil that I put right on top of those dots, and I'm going to run it through our mini Mink machine. Make sure you get it straight and even as you're running it through. I'm going to put our next pieces together. This is from our circle layered scallop dies, and they look kind of funny when you look at the dies. Kind of looks like just a circle with bumps on it, right? But when you cut out two different colors with the die, and then you turn it a little bit, look, you get alternating colored scallops in a circle. It's really fun. So I'm going to glue these together. Look at that, so fun, those alternating colored scallops. The set also has a stitch circle die that fits right on the top in the center, so you get the scallops going around. This center circle. So it doesn't matter what color you glue on top for the scallop portion, because you're going to cover up that center and you're going to have those alternating scallops going around just like so. So fun. It creates such a fun focal point for your card. I've cut this out of our Salon Pink, our Dress Shop Pink, and our Lakeside, oh not Lakeside, this is a Riverwalk turquoise cardstock. Let's take a look at our foiled piece. So we want to let this cool before we do the fun peel and reveal. Oh, I love that. That's my favorite part. Look at that. And we can save this background if we want and use it for another card, which we just might do. So we'll set this aside. And look, we have this gorgeous polka dot panel, those beautiful Fairy Wings Gold holographic dots. I'm going to glue that down to my card base, and then we'll add our little layered scallop circle. These fun foil dots are just going to add that pop of wow in the background. So now I will glue down my circle. And for our little girl here, I'm going to get some foam tape and I'm going to pop her up a little bit for some dimension on the card. So I've got our giant roll of foam tape. So now we'll add our adorable little girl. And like I said, you can stamp a sentiment from the stamp set into that little bubble, but I'm just going to leave it as so. And then later on I can decide if I want it to be a birthday card or just a fun card to send, and I can put a sentiment on the inside of the card. So we'll put her right in the center of that scallop circle. How cute is that? She is like the focal point of the card. Super cute. What I do want to add to that bubble is some of our Touch of Gloss. So our Touch of Gloss is like a clear lacquer product. There we go. So I'm just going to add a thin layer all around this bubble. Once I'm done adding that layer, I can give you a little tip for closing. I like to clean off the tip here with my finger and then kind of tap it on the table and squeeze the bottle and then add the lid and let it pop back. When you squeeze the bottle and you let it release, it'll pull the lacquer back down into the bottle instead of staying up at the tip. So then we'll have a nice clear glossy bubble that looks like a real bubble. So fun. So here is our first card with the magic of video. I've let this dry. It takes just a little bit to dry. And we have this super cute, like realistic bubble. And like I said, you could have stamped the sentiment in there as well. But I'm going to leave mine like this. And I can make this card for any occasion. I think it's super cute. And I love those holographic foiled dots in the background. For our next card, I've got an A2 pre-scored and cut A2 side folding card base. I have cut my background panel out of our Night Sky cardstock, and I ran it through my die cut machine with our chevron embossing folder. So it gives a cool little chevron texture to the cardstock, which I love that in the background. A little bit of texture and dimension in your card. So the first thing I'm going to do is just glue this background piece down. And I've cut this piece to 4 by 5 1/4 inches. So we have a little bit of a white border around our card panel. go. And guess what I'm pulling back from our first card? I've got our piece of Fairy Wings Gold foil that has those polka dots pattern in it from foiling the polka dot panel. We're going to foil a solid toner sheet. So this greenish color piece of paper is not cardstock. It is a toner printed sheet, full toner printed sheet. So this is from either our rainbow or our garden sheets. It's a nice green color. Might be from the rainbow pack. And instead of always having just a black background, which is all we've had up until recently when we came out with all the color toner sheets, you now can have colored backgrounds with your foiling and your negative foiling. So I look on the back to get the toner sheet just where I want it in that pattern, okay? And pretty side up, just like your other foilables and foiling. And then we run it through our mini ink machine. I'll remove them from the transfer folder and we'll let them cool off just a bit before we do the peel and reveal. But look at that. Oh, so gorgeous. We have one little piece here. I can tell there was like a little piece of fuzz or something because it's a little squiggly line, like something was laying on there and keeps the foil from adhering. But other than that, we've got this beautiful foiled polka dot pattern. It's mostly foil this time, and the polka dots are that really pretty green color from the toner sheet. So I cut a piece of white cardstock, 1/4 inch larger than my foiled piece here, and I'm going to layer these two together. And then I'm going to adhere this to the center of my card. I did cut two different widths. I have about 3/8 of an inch and then 1/4 of an inch of these little strips. They're from our year-round dots and stripes. On one side is dots and the other is stripes. I'm going to use and show the striped side. And I want to put these up and down more towards the left-hand side just to add a little bit more color and design to the card. There's the blue. And then there's the green, just adds a little bit more design and color. We have a little boy this time. He's super cute, blowing up bubbles, got that expression just like the girl is trying real hard to blow that big bubble. And I've got a white piece of cardstock cut with our zigzag circle dies. Really like that. It has like a pinked edge or little zigzag edge with a stitched circle in the center. I want to cut just a little bit off the side because I want it to look like it's going off the side of my card. So I just take my scissors and cut a straight line. Cut just a tad more here. You could also do it with your paper trimmer if you're not comfortable cutting the straight edge with your scissors. And then I'll glue this down to the card. So I just put it right in the center of those. We've got the stripes coming up and down, the top and the bottom. Then we have that real pretty foiled piece in the background. I've got a little bit of foam tape here. I'm going to cut into smaller pieces. And we'll add the foam tape to our little guy here. Again, I didn't bring my stamp set into the studio before making this video, and I'm regretting it now because I can't show you like stamping the little sentiments in their bubble, but you can stamp the sentiment in the bubble from the stamp set, and I will do that later, but I'm just showing you just putting some cute and simple cards together that just have a nice look to them. And we'll pop him right on that circle there. And I'm not going to add the touch of gloss to his bubble just yet because I want to stamp something in his bubble later from the stamp set. But isn't that cute and simple design? Again, he is the star of the show of this card, but that fun foiled panel in the background just gives it that wow factor with those polka dots. And this is a great little masculine card. For our next card, I have another A2 side folding card. This time I cut a piece with our Riverwalk. It's a pretty turquoise cardstock, and I ran it through with that chevron embossing folder again. I think that gives a really fun look in the background. So we will glue that down to the card base. Let's set that aside. I've got some more papers here from our year-round dots and stripes, and I'm going to use the polka dot side. I've got a yellow polka dot I'm going to put here on top of our night sky purple cardstock. just two smaller rectangles here where one is a 1/4 inch larger than the other. And then the same here with, I'm using that green toner printed sheet that we foiled in the last card, but this time I'm just going to use it like it's a colored piece of paper. So you don't have to foil it. If you've got some laying around and it's the right color for your project, you can leave it and use it just as a colored piece of paper. And then I also have a strip of orange polka dot. I've got another zigzag circle die cut out of white cardstock. I've got some fun candies and suckers that we're going to add to the card. And this time we're using this little cutie. Look at that, the bubble popped on their face. How cute. And this can be a boy or a girl, because we've got little pigtails that you can add. How sweet is that? All right, so let's start to put our card together. These two rectangles were just meant to be in the background, just to add color to the card. So I'm going to go ahead and glue them down to the card base. Are you ever crafting and you create projects and get everything ready to make, and then it gets set aside for a while, and you know, like those unfinished projects that you don't seem to ever come back to, or it takes a long time to come back to them? Well, I have to say these cards that we're making today with this Choose You set, they have been in my studio on the shelf for a little over a year. I hate to admit. So I pulled them out and I'm like, I've got to put these together. So I wanted to create the video and put them together and actually have some cute cards that I can send to friends and family with them. So here is the card. We've got the blue in the background, and then we've got these two rectangles just kind of tilted diagonally on the card. I know I'm going to put our girl right in the center. I just got to decide if I want the orange stripe on top of the circle or if I want to put it underneath. And I use the orange down there at the bottom. It kind of goes great with the red hair. And let's see what. Okay, I think I like it underneath there because then it's just popping out. So we'll go ahead and we'll add this strip at the bottom. But as I was saying, you don't have to feel like you're alone, because I do that as well. I get some things made, and with every intention of making a video with them or getting the cards finished for a project, and they get set aside, and then I find them later and I'm like, oh, look at this, I totally forgot I had put these aside. And but these were really fun to put together. Now I'm going to glue down my zigzag circle. I'm going to grab my giant roll of foam tape because I'm going to need some to pop things up for some dimension. You see, I love how easily our foam tape cuts with just my regular scissors here. It's a nice adhesive, it sticks really well, but it doesn't gum up my scissors, and I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna add our little girl first. Just put some foam tape. Oops. So maybe this will inspire you to go through your craft room and pull out some of those unfinished projects and actually pull them out and get them finished. I do need a couple of smaller pieces of foam tape for these little pigtails. And they could be either going up or down, depending on what side you put them on. There we go. How cute is that? And now we're just going to add some candies along the bottom. Some I will glue down directly, and then some I will pop up. I'll just have candies on both sides, just like so. All right, so this side I'm gonna glue the little lollipop down first. And then this little candy, I want to add foam tape, but it's not as wide as our foam tape, so I'm gonna just cut it in half with my scissors like that. Okay, and I will also glue the lollipop on this side directly down. And then we'll pop up the peppermint and the other piece of candy. And there's our final card. How cute is that? And I love the different color blocks in the background and how they just add to the design of the card. With, again, our focal point is this cutie here with the burst bubble. I think I am going to add some touch of gloss to her. But this time, instead of adding it to the burst bubble, let's add it to her eyes. So touch of gloss looks really good on eyes because it gives that realistic look to your eyes. It can either be a person's eyes like this one, or it can be a critter or other character that you have on your card. With this touch of gloss, it'll give that shine. It goes on clear, and it gives that realistic shine to your eyes. So it's not only good for like that big bubble we did in the first card. And again, I'm gonna tap it down on the table before I close it. I'm gonna squeeze it with my hand so I push air out. I'm just gonna make sure the nozzle is cleaned off. I'm gonna put the lid back on, still while I'm squeezing it, and then I'm gonna release it, and the pressure, it's gonna pop the bottle back up, but it's pulling air in, so it pulls the touch of gloss down into the bottle as it's closing. That helps you keep the liquid from being clogged up in the top. So it's not dry yet, and I have to wait for it to dry. I have to be careful, but see if I can get it angled in the camera right. You see how her eyes are glossy? So they look real. They have a realistic look to them. I love that. And now I can make this card for anything I want. It's super sweet and cute. So we've got that one. We created this one, a little more masculine colors. Again, as I mentioned before, these are from our scratch off series. So you can stamp the sentiment in the bubbles, and you could put our little scratch off stickers that are round. They fit right into the bubble. I made sure that the bubble is the same size as our scratch off stickers. So that's fun. But there's the 3 cards we made with the Choose You stamps dies and just some foils and background papers. Super cute, super simple, easy to create, but they just give that oh so cute factor. So thank you so much again for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed the cards I created. You can find these products and more at pinkandmain.com or ask your local retailer. And until next time, my friends, keep living the creative life.